Hi, this is Mike, and I'm reading Robert Alter's translation of Exodus chapter 8. And Yahweh said to Moses, "Say to Aaron, stretch out your hand with your staff over the rivers, over the Nile channels, and over the ponds, and bring up the frogs over the land of Egypt." And Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt. And the soothsayers did thus with their spells, and brought up frogs over the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh called to Moses and to Aaron and said, "Entreat Yahweh that he take away the frogs from me and from my people, and I shall send off the people, that they may sacrifice to Yahweh." And Moses said to Pharaoh, "You may vaunt over me as for when I should entreat for you, and for your servants and for your people to cut off the frogs from you and from your houses. Only in the Nile will they remain." And he said, "For tomorrow." And he said, "As you have spoken, so that you may know there is none like Yahweh our God. And the frogs will turn away from you and your houses and from your servants and from your people. Only in the Nile will they remain." And Moses, and Aaron with him, went out from Pharaoh's presence. And Moses cried out to Yahweh concerning the frogs that he had put upon Pharaoh. And Yahweh did according to Moses' word. And the frogs died, out of the houses and out of the courtyards and out of the fields, and they piled them up heap upon heap, and the land stank. And Pharaoh saw that there was relief, and he hardened his heart, and did not heed them, just as Yahweh had spoken. And Yahweh said to Moses, "Say to Aaron, stretch out your staff and strike the dust of the land, and there will be lice in all the land of Egypt." And thus they did. And Aaron stretched out his hand with his staff and struck the dust of the land, and there were lice in man and in beast. All the dust of the earth became lice in all the land of Egypt. And thus the soothsayers of Egypt did with their spells to take out the lice, but they were unable, and the lice were in man and in beast. And the soothsayers said to Pharaoh, "God's finger it is." And Pharaoh's heart toughened, and he did not heed them, just as Yahweh had spoken. And Yahweh said to Moses, "Rise early in the morning and station yourself before Pharaoh. Look, he will be going out to the water, and say to him, 'Thus said Yahweh, send off my people that they may worship me. For if you do not send off my people, I am about to send against you and against your servants and against your people and against your houses the horde, and the houses of Egypt will be filled with the horde, and the soil too on which they stand. But I shall set apart on that day the land of Goshen, upon which my people stands, so that no horde will be there, that you may know that I am Yahweh in the midst of the land. And I shall set a ransom between my people and your people. Tomorrow this sign will be." And thus Yahweh did, and a heavy horde came into the house of Pharaoh and the house of his servants, and in all the land of Egypt the land was ravaged in the face of the horde. And Pharaoh called to Moses and to Aaron and said, "Go, sacrifice to your God in the land." And Moses said, "It is not right to do thus. For the abomination of Egypt we shall sacrifice to Yahweh our God. If we sacrifice the abomination of Egypt before their eyes, will they not stone us? 3 days' journey into the wilderness we shall go, and we shall sacrifice to Yahweh our God as he has said to us." And Pharaoh said, "I myself will send you off, that you may sacrifice to Yahweh your God in the wilderness. Only you must not go far away. Entreat on my behalf." And Moses said, "Look, I am going out from your presence, and I shall entreat Yahweh that the horde may turn away from Pharaoh and from his servants and from his people tomorrow. Only let not Pharaoh continue to mock by not sending the people off to sacrifice to Yahweh." And Moses went out from Pharaoh's presence and entreated Yahweh. And Yahweh did according to Moses' word. And the horde turned away from Pharaoh and from his servants and from his people. Not one remained. And Pharaoh hardened his heart this time too, and he did not send off the people.